Hello and welcome back with round number 8. We have the second half of our feature matches available for y'all. I'm Mason Clark. This is our Kamban Chandani, and we have Esper versus Convoke in the feature match area. Let's get down to it because it is getting late in the day for our players. We're jumping into game number 3 here so we can get all the matches to you today. As we do have Newton, who we saw earlier in the day on your right, versus Prost on your left with Esper Midrange.
Yeah.
All right, who do you like in this matchup?
Particularly post-mod, if we've got to this point with game 3, I have to like Esper. Andres Prost has 4 copies of Pest Control in his sideboard, so once we get to that point, definitely lean the Esper side. But being on the play, definitely an edge for Convoke. The thing about Esper is it's a very mid-rangey deck, so it has a bunch of 50-50 matchups, and that means that even the matchups where it's favored like this, it's going to be a real game and anyone could win. So I'd say I'll lean Esper, but maybe not so much after this start.
Yeah, once you see Tapland into Voldaren Epicure into Gleeful Demolition, put the Knight Errant into play, get 2 cards, it is hard to vote against the Boros Convoke deck. And that's why so many of our players have not only been playing this deck this weekend, but doing so well that we're seeing them in the feature match area, because Boros Convoke just has a great start. And Pest Control is the card we kept talking about. That's going to kill everything but the Knight Errant, but the Knight is on board and is a 4-4. So we're going to have to see with Newton having the ability to refuel.
Yeah, and notably the Knight Errant, like the Knight Errant mitigates a lot of the downsides of Pest Control, right? Normally when a Pest Control comes down to its backbreaking for this deck, but in this spot, Andres is actually not trading up on cards. Newton turned both those Gleeful Demolition and Epicure into new cards essentially from the Knight Errant, and also got a 0 mana 4/4 for his troubles. So yeah, not really what you want your Pest Control to be doing in this matchup for Andres.
Yeah. Andres here plays the Raffine, passes back. We're going to see Knight Errant attack for 4. Drop him down to 11. Looks like we picked up a Novice Inspector and a Warden of the Inner Sky that we had from before. Looks like we're going to play the Warden. Might get a little scry action on for Newton. Yeah. Warden of the Inner Sky is such a great add to this deck.
Yeah, definitely the piece that made it come together. The deck didn't really have enough rewards for going wide before Warden came out. It doesn't have the Venerated Loxodon that the Pioneer version does. But yeah, really pulls the deck together, gives it a second piece to center around. And in the spot, digs for a land, which is really, really important.
We're going to see Newton pick up the case of the Getaway Express. Now that Raffine does have Ward 1. So Andre's passing on the turn last turn and just holding up mana is, still going to be good enough because Newton cannot find that land drop. But there is Aclazotz in hand, Arya, and No More Lies. So Andres might be able to stabilize this.
Yeah, Aclazotz is a little awkward into the case specifically. Newton can... whatever Newton plays this turn likely gets countered, but then once the Aclazotz gets played, Case comes down, kills the Aclazotz, and that's some really good attacks for Newton after that. So I actually quite like his spot.
We see our Unveiled Fealty cast there off the Virtue, put a 2/2 Knight into play. Might look like a Samurai. That'd be your eyes being tricked. That's a 2/2 Knight. As we got another tap land here for Andres. Just all these Restless Anchorages off the top. Looks like we're going to attack and get our Connive on with Raffine. Picked up a go for the throat. We're seeing Raffine do what it does. Smooth your draw while pressuring your opponent.
Yeah, go for the throat is pretty big there. At least there's no longer a threat that can't be blocked in the night. There's actually a blocker being represented here. Still a pretty tough spot for Andres, given how low his life total has fallen.
Yep, we are going to see end of turn. Newton's think about using the mana. Restless Anchorage was the last play there. Prost. It looks like another Resolute Reinforcement's coming down. Newton's going to take one, and we're going to see a No More Lies cast there.
Yeah, but that No More Lies means there's, well, maybe more lying from Newton's hands next in the form of a case of a Gateway Express taking out Raffine. Like no longer having access to a counterspell for that is pretty huge.
Yeah, and if you're Noon, you have to wonder too, is Andres doing this because he has an extra counter, or is he doing it just to use his mana? What's going on over there? Because from your perspective, not much has really happened. It's possible he kept a hand just in the back of pest control with the Rafine, right? Like, hard to imagine that. But when you're playing these events, you really want to think about what your opponent is doing and sort of what their plays have been telling you. And we did pick up the plane, so we can pay the ward 1 if we went after the Rafine. We can also just kill the Samurai / Knight. Of course, it's a Knight.
Yeah, going to kill the Rafine is a really risky play here for Newton. Because I realized that with the reinforcements not resolving, he only has 4 creatures. So going to hit the Rafine with the case could lead to removal spell in response, which probably just loses him the game. So I think that's a risk is likely to avoid taking.
Yep. It looks like Newton is thinking what he wants to do, though.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what else is in his hand, but I'd imagine any 3-drop is pretty quick to get deployed here, be it an Imidane's Recruiter or a Wall Leader Skull or even a Sanguine Evangelist.
I believe he has a Novice Inspector, which is coming down. This is a great way to get some extra, scrying happen.
Yeah, just more pieces of cardboard in play is really useful. Notably, Novice Inspector could maybe mean a case of the Getaway Express and then an attack that flips it with or at least on board represents an attack that can flip the case of the Getaway Express, solve it, so to speak, and turn Newton's board really terrifying.
I like this from Newton here. He just attacks, gets in for 4 in the sky. It's going to put damage first on Rafine. Looks like there's some double checking just to make sure. Rafine is going to be the pick. Looks like Andres has that go to the throw up front. It's going to take out the Warden in the inner sky. Lose the Rafine and is left with just the Vigilating Knight.
Yeah, and I have to imagine the Knight gets taken care of here by the case, unless there's another 2-drop in hand.
Yeah, it looks like the hand is Gleeful Demolition, Imodanes, and Case, which means this Aclazotz comes down. It's going to do a really good job of stabilizing the battlefield.
Yeah, that's... So I do believe that if Newton finds a land, that should still be lethal with Gleeful Demolition on the clue plus Imodane's Recruiter.
Yeah, if we find the land, though, and that's the big draw step going on here, will we hit it? Any untapped land does it for Newton. Oh. Looked a little fast even from my eyes. And we're seeing some counting happen. It was a Plains, Arya.
So, yeah, that should be 3 blocked off the Recruiter and 6 damage getting in for a total of 12, putting Andre to -1 after the 4 gained off the Aclazotz.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Andre did such a good job of trying to stay alive here. And if Newton does the math correctly, he's going to find it. You see him play the Plains first. Yep. Andre's like, okay, what's going to happen? Probably nothing. Goblins come down, lose a life. Immodanes, yeah, you see the head shake there. Newton falls to 11. If he turns everything sideways, that is lethal, assuming we did our math right as well.
Yep. And I think this is a real testament to the staying power and the strength of this Boros deck. While all weekend long we've been talking about how people want Temporary Lockdown, Brotherhood's End, Path of Peril, Best Control, various pieces of interaction against the deck. But the deck really has the strength to even play through like pieces of hate like Best Control that are laser targeted at the deck.
Yep. Well, congratulations there. We're going to actually do a post-match interview. Then we're going to come back and do a heavy play giveaway. So stay around. We'll be right back after this interview.
Hey everybody, welcome back down to the Feature Match area, sponsored to you by Heavy Play. I've got Newton Chang with me, fresh off a victory here in the Feature Match area. 7-1 on the day. You're telling me this is your 4th RC. You've never gotten one of the Pro Tour qualifications, but we're getting pretty close. Has it started to like sink in maybe a little bit?
I'm trying not to count my chickens before they hatch. Just need to play tight and keep playing tight until it's all locked up.
All right, now you're playing Boros Convoke here this weekend. We got to see a sweet match between you and Esper here. And you were telling me you liked your list a lot. You've been kind of working on this a bunch, but you weren't so sure this was the deck you were going to play until about, what, a week ago?
That's right. I was pretty sure I was going to play the Teamer Analyst deck up until last weekend. But after the results from the multiple RCs last weekend, I felt that the deck, it was still good, but it had a massive target on it, and everybody was going to be prepared for it. So I thought, look, I'm a really good aggro player. I'm just going to go to my comfort pick. I'm going to lock in Convoke.
Nothing wrong with going with the comfort pick here. Now, your main deck, pretty stock. You know, what we've seen from Boros Convoke. Now, I see a 3 of in this sideboard that you were telling me was, I'm assuming came into the last matchup.
Yes, that's right. So I have 3 Steel Seraph in my sideboard. Credit to the System Magic team for giving me this super cool tech. Basically, it comes in for Esper and most black mid-range because they just don't have any cards that kill Steel Seraph.
Yeah, go for the throat. Can't target that one. And you're kind of telling me about like testing and stuff. Who was it and how did you prepare?
Yeah, so I mostly tested with Sanctum of All, which is a team I think, you know, they were super successful. They put 2 people in the top 8 in the last PT. They're fantastic people, super lovely, as well as just some friends from Seattle.
Yeah, well, y'all have all been doing pretty well the last couple events. So, Newton, best of luck the rest of the weekend. Hope you get that qualification.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back, and what a great interview we had there. But Arya, it's time. We're going to do a giveaway for one of the sponsors of this stream for the coverage going on this weekend, and that is Heavy Play. So, chat, if you want to win $20 in store credit to Heavy Play, I need you to go in the chat and type Heavy Play. Then, in a couple minutes, we're going to give it away. But thank you so much to Heavy Play. With those $20, you can pick up a pack of their curved sleeves. You can go work on your way towards an ETB playmat, RFG deck box, max, RFG deck box normal, RNG, dice box max, so many more. You go to their website, you check out all of those products, and you can use the code Dallas2024. That way that we know that we sent you, and y'all get 10% off. It's a win-win. Everybody wins. You get more Magic coverage. It's so great. Thank you once again to Heavy Play for helping support paper Magic coverage. We love to see it. But Arya, we have 1 round left for today. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with the final round of day 1 and see which of our players are going into day number 2.